Artists. Mr. Kushla here recording a video on how I go about approaching a still life drawing, a simple still life. Today your assignment is to find your favorite coffee mug, your favorite cup that you drink out of, and draw it using contour line drawings, and then shade it so that it has light, medium, dark shadow. When you're doing this project, I would highly recommend that you choose something that is solid. For example, my favorite coffee mug. Not something that is clear, because clear objects are much harder to shade. They have things like reflections and internal edges that get to be hard to do. So I would highly recommend choosing a mug or cup if you have one. So with that, let's get into how I approach a simple still life object. All right, so for this first part of my drawing, I'm focusing on the contour lines of my mug. I usually recommend starting at the top and getting that ellipse or that circular section at the top. Some of you were doing round objects yesterday. I noticed some of you had flat tops. It's very important at this stage that you're trying to show the circular parts of the artwork. So really focus on getting that circular ellipse shape at the top. And then the other thing I'm focusing on is making sure that the sides are symmetrical and where they go in and where they go out. So I'm kind of double checking the angles of my indents, the curve of the belly. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to layer in my first glance shadows. Where are the shadows? Where is it darker? Where is it lighter? Where it is lighter, I'm going to ignore and not shade at all. I'm going to shade next to my highlights. If you want something bright, if you see the bright white areas of your artwork, in order to get those bright white areas to stand out, you actually want to shade next to or around them. So you want to always ignore your highlights in the beginning. So during this first part of the shading, I'm gradually building up light tones of value. And as I build up my tones, I'm trying to match or mirror the curve of the mug and the curve of the rim and the curve of that handle. So I really want to focus on trying to follow the curve of the bottom. And I'm going to spend more time pressing medium and dark on the dark internal shadow, which is on the bottom left-hand corner of my mug. And then also there's kind of like a medium tone here on the inside on that internal hollow space. So I really want to make that rim stand out because that rim is one of my highlights. And to make that rim stand out, I actually need to darken the part that is inside the mug. And the same thing goes for the handle. The handle actually has a shadow inside the handle and a highlight on top of the handle. So I want to really try and capture the different shadows, the different dark, medium, and light in that handle. So I'm going to kind of constantly keep going back and forth between the middle dark and then work on fading to a medium. So what I'm doing here is just keep going, jumping around and checking different areas, pressing a little harder, pressing a little lighter. Here I get my eraser and I just bring out some of those bright white highlights in the handle and the rim, which are the two brightest parts of this artwork or of this mug when I stare at it outside next to my window. Next, I'm going to start to focus on the negative space around the mug. So negative space is the areas kind of up in between the handle, underneath the base. This is also known as the setting or the background. You want to use the negative space to your advantage to make your artwork stand out. So to do that, I'm starting to add that cast shadow underneath to the bottom right is kind of like the darkest cast shadow, or the bottom left, I'm sorry, because I know my window is to my right, so the cast shadow is going to be on the bottom left. So I'm going to gradually work on kind of making my way around, shading that dark area underneath, and I'm pressing harder, spending more time layering more gradually darker and darker and darker shadows underneath the mug. And now I'm going to press super hard to get that really, really, really dark cast shadow. Whenever you're shading, you want to really double check that you have a, a, a wide range of values from light highlights to a medium, to a mid-tone, to an internal shadow that's kind of dark, to then a super dark cast shadow. You want that full range. So you really want to double check that you have that range of values. Now I just kind of keep going back, revising the shadow. I'm working really now on just thinking about making the texture of that background nice and smooth. As you will notice, one of the number one thing that I've done, I did this whole drawing and I did not use my fingertips to smudge or smear at all. If you start to smear with your fingertips, your drawing is going to get very messed up and you're not going to have preserve of dark and a medium and a light. If you do feel the urge to smear, I would highly recommend that you use something like a Q-tip or a paper towel that's like twisted up into a little point, because otherwise you will mess your hands up. For this last little bit, I'm just revising the form, the overall form of the mug, to make sure that it's symmetrical. And that is it. All right, 10th graders. So that is my quick tutorial video on how I would approach shading a simple still life object. Again, when you're finished with your artwork, please take a picture of it with your iPhone, Android, whatever you use, and email it to yourself so that you can attach it to this assignment. If you have any questions, please reach out to me over Google Classroom or over email. And I hope I will see some of you at office hours today from 11 to 12. I'll do another demonstration then. That's all, and have a great day.